How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us. Me and my Taco Bell here, which I've just realized is still in shot. It's February 27th today, and if I look like I'm sitting in a very specific position, I am, and I'm not moving from it. I've thrown my back out, and I'm on an unholy amount of painkillers, so this could make for an interesting half hour, 45 minutes or so. Um, if you're there, say hi. Be nice to hear from you. So, yeah, February 27th, we are a week nearer to Daily Dose Day. In fact, we are a week and a day nearer to Daily Dose Day than when we last spoke, because I've changed the date. And let me tell you why. So February 27th today. So, hey, Dan, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. So May the 2nd is a Monday. We've done 7 Daily Dose days before. They've always been on a Monday, and the reason for that is I've always done them on a what we call over here a bank holiday, or a public holiday to you guys. Hi, Chuck. Thank you for joining us. Nice to see you. And so first Daily Dose Day was about 20 years ago, and when I looked at my site stats, most of you looked at the site on a weekday. And the reason for that was, when I dug a bit further into it, you were looking at the internet in work, because I guess that's where you got your internet fix in a lot of cases. So these days, this was 20 years ago. So these days, we carry the internet around in our pockets these days, don't we? So everybody has it. The other reason was to give me some recovery time. So if I did it on a bank holiday Monday or a public holiday, then I didn't have to take a day off work. All of that to say, it would make much more sense to have this on a Sunday or through the weekend, especially if this is going to be a 24-hour thing. So you're not just picking off an MP3 on the hour. I will be doing something for a 24-hour period on the internet. So you can pick and choose what you see. I'm firming up a schedule. That is to say, I haven't done it yet, but I will do. But it will be great to put something together soon. But yeah, long story short, we've brought the date forward a day, so May the 1st. So I've been busy redoing all the graphics and anything which mentioned May the 1st. Hi, Carwin. You'll hear some more from Carwin in a little bit, whether he knows it or not. And Andy, yes, I've done this as much for my own benefit as yours, so I have a day to recover afterwards. But it's good to know that Sunday suits you guys fine. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to talk a little bit about a title for the documentary, and I need your help. I really need your help. I so badly need your help with a title. Going to talk a bit about the 2022 Bruce.com survey and the 2002, is that a thing? 2002 survey that we did 20 years ago, because we're going to compare the two eventually. We've got some news from George Marinelli, some exciting news from a founder member of The Range back in the day. So I've just spoken with George, actually, or just gone back and forth by email. So I had some exciting news from George. We'll have another lyric picture game, since I enjoyed aggravating you with that last week. We'll talk a little bit about word clouds. So if you don't know what a word cloud is, you soon will. And some of the Facebook chatter from this week as well. And it's great to see my friend Amy. Thank you for joining us, Amy. Good that thank you for remembering. You are welcome to watch on replay anytime as well. So these always stay up on Facebook or on YouTube if anyone isn't able to catch it live. But it's always great to see you when you are, because that means we can talk as we're doing now, and we can play along with these games. Chuck, I will email me through the site. So there's a contact. There's a contact link on Bruce.com. Just use that to get hold of me, and I'll come back to you with an email address to send a music clip to. But I look forward to hearing that. So that's a little bit about what we're going to cover this week. I've just mentioned Carwyn, who's with us, so thank you for joining us, Carwyn. I did mention last week that Carwyn was part of the very first cover project that we did, and I incorrectly said he did Road Not Taken. If you know Carwyn, you might understand why I made that mistake, because he's huge for that particular song. But he covered Till the Dream Is Done, and he played it on a harp, not a harpsichord, which is a story in itself, but a harp. And I will play that for you now before we go on to talk a little bit about the documentary. So here's Carwyn's contribution to the very first project, Shadow Hands, and this is Till the Dream Is Done.
Well, I saw her one day at the corner cafe. Everybody there knew she's the wonder. Sat there all night, too shy to say, honey, you can keep me from going under. 'Cause oh my, when she walks on by, hard not to get lost in the view. How can you tell if the feeling's a lie when love comes out of the blue? North, south, east and west, up, down, all around and all the rest. I go anywhere she wants me to go. Of all the girls I've loved, she's the best. She's the one till the dreaming's done. Well, I left in the springtime long, long ago. Funny, but I never got to know her. Some people tell me she stayed alone. If things were different, I'd go and show her. 'Cause oh my, when she walks on by, it's hard not to get lost in the view. How can you tell if the feeling's a lie when love comes out of the blue? North, south, east and west, up, down, all around and all the rest. I go anywhere she wants me to go. Of all the girls I've loved, she's the best. She's the one till the dreaming's done. North, south, east and west, up, down, all around and all the rest. I go anywhere she wants me to go. Of all the girls I've loved, she's the best. She's the one till the dreaming's done. North, south, east and west, underground, overground and all the rest. I go anywhere she wants me to go. Of all the girls I've loved, she's the best. She's the one till the dreaming's done.
Thank you, Carwyn. I still love listening to that 18 years on from the very first cover project, actually. So I guess 18 years since the first Daily Dose Day. And I got the Wombles reference at the end of that, Carwyn. I got the reference to your wretched football team. And I say that as I'm watching my beloved Knicks. I've timed this badly. My Knicks are on TV, and I'm not joking, by the way. I'm huge for the Knicks, and they've pulled back an 8-point deficit, and they're winning. I shouldn't be watching. What am I doing? I'm talking about Carwyn and his wonderful Till the Dream Is Done. Chuck says, well done. And it absolutely was. In fact, Carwyn used to do, back in the day, Carwyn contributed a lot of, in fact, I'll show you. Carwyn used to do some lyric analysis. So we still have it all on the site. So here on Bruce.com, if you've never looked at this, I'm really quite chuffed with this. The wiki, which is like a Wikipedia version of all of Bruce's stuff. And amongst it, if I look at song titles and the lyrics, for instance, I don't post the lyrics themselves because they're copyrighted, and I don't think I'm able to. So there, for instance, is every single song that Bruce has done. So if I look at Country Doctor, for instance, then what you'll see under each song is who played on it and a little bit about the instruments they played. Then a download of that song if I've got one, then a YouTube clip of that song if I've got one. And here in the middle is Carwyn's analysis of or interpretation of the lyrics and what they mean to him. And very deep he goes into them too. So I would encourage you to have a look at that in your own time. The wiki also looks at the albums, the artists and the guests and the different. So if I click on percussion, for instance, that Derwin Cox played on Country Doctor, then that's going to tell me who else played percussion and on what record. So that took a dog's age to do, and it's always a work in progress. And I would invite you to look at that at your own time. Vic also says, lovely instrument, well done, Cohen. And yeah, I love the harp. I wish I heard more of it. And Amy, they're not playing the Boston Celtics. They are playing the Eagles. And I feel like I'm jinxing them because every time I watch them, it's in the Garden, which makes me, as in Madison Square, and it just makes me sentimental for New York every time I turn it on, but I just can't help myself. So thank you, Carwyn, for your contribution 18 years ago to Shadow Hands and to our lyric analysis, which Elise has done some as well, but they're always open for people to contribute more. And I especially love to hear what people make of the newer songs and look into some meaning. And Eagles have pulled back just as I look up. The documentary. So I am so far up in my the movie is just about done, but I should have finished that last sentence. I'm so far up in my head, I was going to say, and I cannot get out. I just don't know what to call this movie. So the rule that I've set is it can't be the name of a song title for two reasons. Number one, it's not very creative, and number two, Google. So if I was to call it Bruce Hornsby Spider Fingers, for instance, then that's not going to show up in the first 200 search results on Google, because if you Google Bruce Hornsby Spider Fingers, you're going to see the song and videos of it and different people's different outlets selling it. So to call it after the name of a song is probably out. Andy's come up with three possible ones here: The Other Piano Man, Hornsby Musical Stories, and A Musician's Musician. Third one's difficult to say. I like the second one, Hornsby Musical Stories. So I'll add that one to the list. I'm going to show you the four I've come up with, and I just don't know yet. But I'm after some interpretations. That isn't one of the song. One of the that's for later. That wasn't one of the titles. You're all picking words I can't say. Prestidigitations is a good one. I don't dislike it. I don't hate it. So one of the other hurdles that I'm wrestling with here is Carwyn agrees actually. See, I can't say it. Prestidigitations. So the other thing is I'm going to make a website for it. If I want it to be something people can spell. I did a website, I helped with a website to do with esophageal cancer once, and they wanted to call it, well, they wanted the word esophagus in the title, and I just said no, because nobody can spell it. Odyssey is another website I've done some work on. It had the word Odyssey in the title. They insisted, but I just couldn't persuade them otherwise. Dance is the musical road taken. Now you've hit on something there, Dan, because I love the idea of the word road or taken somewhere in the title, and that's another one to add to the list. So the ones I've thought of were Here Younger Now Than Then, which is a lyric. I'm not against using a lyric if I have to in the title. So here, Younger Now Than Then, which is, I'm confusing myself with lyrics again now. Whichever song that is from, I just can't remember now. But that's kind of the idea behind that, was that Bruce is forever evolving. So that's a theme I really want to incorporate. The idea of constant growth is something I could use in a title, or along that theme, or the pursuit of the unattainable, maybe. So the second one I had was Daughter Forever. And I like the idea of like a graphic or something of a door in an open field or something, and just going through the door. So bear in mind, I've got to open this movie with something, and all the graphics I'm doing for the movie will have to be based on the title, which is why I'm in kind of a hurry to come up with one. So I like the idea of Daughter Forever, maybe, or Daughter Forever Open Wide, or Forever Open Wide, which again has another connotation to it. So that could be open to the music, or open to ideas for music. So the last record in particular dealt with the idea of always being receptive to ideas for music, and the idea of Daughter Forever being, again, that constant growth, or the pursuit of the unattainable. And I've talked to Bruce about this before, is how do you define unattainable? Because 20 years ago, what he's doing now would have been unattainable. So when you get to that level, then something else is unattainable. So you never hit that goal. It's forever. It's ongoing. So I like the idea of forever maybe being in the title. Not sure about this one. Signal to noise. So you have a signal to noise ratio. We have noise as in noisemakers, and signal can be, I was thinking of the idea of spontaneity in the band, and the various cues or prompts that Bruce gives for someone to play. And a signal can also be something striking, or something outstanding, or something momentous. So that's a possibility. I can't even remember what the other one is even. So I guess I'll surprise myself with this one. Oh yeah. Bruce himself has said if there's ever a book written about him, which this isn't, but it's a document, he would call it Slow Learner. I don't know. It's on the plus side, it's Bruce's idea. On the negative, I'm just not sure about it. I don't think it's very. It's self-effacing, so I understand why Bruce would say it, but I don't know about the idea of somebody making a movie about him and calling it that. So I'm open to ideas still, but I really need something quick. So I've got a record of what you suggested here also. The idea of a road or a trail is definitely one that appeals to me. The idea of conducting something. One of my all-time favorite Bruce songs is Cyclone, and the idea that you summon the moon, or you summon things or conduct things with your hands, and the idea that Bruce's hands or Bruce's fingers would summon something. One going out of focus. That's me moving too much. That appeals. So 10-fingered tornadoes was something suggested to me as well, which I don't hate either. But lots of ideas. I've just got. I can't keep out my own way with this. I'm so far inside my head that I can't come out the other side, and I can't come up with a title. So anything you guys can come up with, and I appreciate the ideas you've got so far. I appreciate it, and I would happily take some more. But that's what we have for now. Yeah. So what else did I have to cover? The survey. So 20 years ago, we built like a little bit of a time capsule. I'm going to show you the site again. We built a little bit of a time capsule of Bruce's music. Or Bruce's followers, I should say. So if I go back to... nope, that's the wrong page. That's given away an announcement for later, or the favor I was going to ask of you in a minute, I should say. Yeah, I'm looking for what did I can't even navigate my own website. What did a Bruce Hornsby fan look like 20 years ago? So we asked around, and hundreds of you responded 20 years ago. So I've looked back on that 20 years later, and just seen how it compares, or how dated it might look today. So, for instance, where were you in 2002? So most of you who responded, out of the several hundred who did, were on the east coast of the States, not forgetting California on the west, but we had 30 from New York, 21 from North Carolina, then Virginia, 20 in the UK. So I've listed every state and every country who responded there. And how old were they? Well, back in the day, in 2002, most people who listened to Bruce were in their 20s, and that's interesting to me, because do you remember last week we looked at or was it the week before, we looked at the average age of, or the most popular age of Bruce's followers today, and they're in their 40s. So I would take it from that. 20 years on from being in their 20s, most of them have stuck with him. How many years a fan? So fully half of the people who responded in 2002 were a fan since The Way It Is. No big surprise. And then a spike, I guess, for every record that came out. And the Grateful Dead years as well, I should say. In amongst your hobbies, 97 of them listed listening to music, and then 60 of them played music. 20 of you enjoyed going to concerts, so there's definitely a music aspect to them, as you would expect. Also playing golf, reading, sports, family time, occupations. There's a typo there, that's going to bug me. But most were in education, either doing the teaching or being taught. So I'd like to see how that compares with today. Then beyond Bruce, so favorite other bands outside of Bruce. So Grateful Dead, obviously, by a huge number. Then Dave Matthews, then Fish, then Widespread Panic, Billy Joel, U2, Beatles and McCartney, Bruce Springsteen, James Taylor, Rat Dog, Sting. Again, I've listed them all, and I've picked up some tips from this, by the way. I've checked out different bands, so Nickel Creek was definitely one of them. I just saw them mentioned. Interesting to see Ricky Skaggs on the list just before Bruce collaborated with him by a number of years, I guess. All the way down to the number ones of Waterboys, Warren Haynes. So I wonder how they compare 20 years on. Top TV, Friends was top of the TV charts, and CSI back in 2002, and Simpsons by a big number was the most popular. Then West Wing, this takes me back, Seinfeld, Friends, Sopranos, CSI, Law and Order, NYPD Blue. So again, I'd love to know how that compares. All the different TV shows. This is like stroll down memory lane looking at some of these. Alan Partridge. I just saw Alan Partridge on the list. The top movies. Alan Partridge is a UK thing. Top movies: Shawshank Redemption, Godfather. Again, I would expect similar again, because these are classics. Goodfellas, Star Wars, Brother Where Art Thou. And the number of concerts you've been to: 64. Hadn't been to any. 148. I should have done the percentages here, really, shouldn't I? But 148 have been to 1 to 5 shows. The number of recordings owned. Now, 103 didn't own any. 104 between 1 and 5. Just to remind you, if you want some free concerts, there's a live concert archive on Bruce.com and a bunch of shows to download for free. And you can't beat free with a stick. Not forgetting Daily Dose Day, coming up in 63 days, 9 weeks today. Scary to me. I need to change that also. That's going to bug me too. It's May the 1st, not the 2nd. And then non-Bruce requests. This is now I don't know how many of these had actually been played back in 2002, but looking at this list now, all of them have been since. So Black Muddy River, Lady with a Fan, Madman Across the Water, Wharf Rat, Comfortably Numb, I Know You Rider, Sugary, Jack Straw. We're going way down the list, and these have all been done since. Scarlet Begonias, Imagine, Darling Be Home Soon, Go from the North Country, Can't Make You Love Me, Loser, Low Spark, The High Heel Boys, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. I don't think I've heard that one. So we've gone maybe 15 deep down the list before we found one that Bruce hasn't covered since. All the way down to, what are some obscure ones here? Even some of these I've heard him do since. Under the Boardwalk I've put that up as a daily dose just recently. Will It Go Round in Circles? I love the idea of Whole of the Moon, by the way. Sir Duke I've heard since. So I know I have because I requested it. I wouldn't leave that alone for a long time. And favourite concert as well, Millennium Bash was the favourite 3 years later. So this was again in 2002. So all of this is leading up to what I just accidentally showed you a minute ago. I would so appreciate if you would take 5 minutes of your time to complete the 2002 Bruce.com survey. So we're going to build another little time capsule of today's version. So I haven't asked your age, for one thing, and I haven't asked your location. So those two things I can pull some of that from Facebook and get an idea of where 2,000 plus of the Bruce Hornsby community are based and their age. Plus, I don't really like asking your age. So it asks questions along a similar line. Which of these do you own? Some extra ones thrown in as well. So Big Swing Face, I should say 20 years on. I should need to make a list of typos. Big Swing Face, 20 years on. What do you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Never heard it. Now, I have had some responses already to this. So I've had a good number responded already. But I would love for you to add your name to the list. And I have had at least one response said they'd never heard Big Swing Face. So I would encourage you to listen to it if you haven't yet. So it's right off the front page of Bruce.com. And yeah, it will take 5 minutes of your time, and it would help contribute to the site and make yourself a little bit a part of our history, a little bit a part of our little time capsule that we're building. I've also mentioned, again, I think I just gave you a sneak preview of this, a little bit of news from George Marinelli. So he has a new record coming out in a couple of weeks' time, less than March 10th. It's called Sign Here. There are 9 tracks on it, 6 originals, 1 old one, Hendrix song, and a Stevie Wonder song. So I will let you know when that comes out for sure. He's very excited about it. Based in Connecticut now is George, and he's having a blast. It's all proceeds from this go to the Southern Poverty Law Center, which I've Googled and found to be a very good cause. So George has contributed a bunch of songs to our cover projects as well, and he never fails to amaze me. I always ask him if he's interested, and then he comes back the next day with a completed track. It's all done, written, recorded, produced, and the finished article, and it always sounds fantastic. And I wanted to share. I shared one with you last week. I think I gave you Stranded on Easy Street, and I wanted to give another one to you now. I was busy rebuilding these videos in the last about 5 minutes before I went live with this, because they all disappeared. So I'm hoping this is going to work. Carwin's did, so George's should too. This is also from Shadow Hands, the first record, as the Knicks are throwing away their game. This is Red Plains, a Range original by a Range original, George Marinelli, and I'll be back with you after this.
walls I built one winter, she came to share my name. For years we lived as lovers on the open plain. Far off the heat wave shimmers, pipeline and the gasoline. One day it all came running like a bad dream. Fire, smoke, filled lungs. I hope I'll be standing when the day is done. Yeah, staring out on the red plains, and we're hiding out from the smoke and the rage. A lifetime living on the red plains, watching out as it all goes up in flames. Get up on Sunday morning, prepare for Friday night. Don't let them tell you it's gonna be a fair fight. Well, I gave her clothes and a diamond. She loved the things that shine. One day the gold and silver get left behind. Fire, smoke, filled rooms. I hope I'll be standing when the day is through. Yeah, I'm staring out on the red plains, and we're hiding out from the blood and the smoke. A lifetime living on the red plains, watching out as it all goes up in flames. Na 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 Fire, smoke, filled rooms. I hope to be standing when the day is through. Yeah, staring out on the red plains, and we're hiding out from the smoke and the rage. A lifetime living on the red plains, watching out as it all goes up in flames.
just amazing is George Marinelli. Everything you just heard was him. Vocals, backing vocals, guitar, piano, and the production was all him. And inside 24 hours, it's incredible. So have a look out for his new record. I will give you the details when I have them. Other than it's called Sign Here, and it's out on March 10th. I'll give you the purchase links when I have them. But if you look at his Bandcamp site, I keep wanting to say Bootcamp, Bandcamp site, then and I'll link to it. It's linked to from that page I just showed you. Then you'll be able to purchase it from there when he releases it, March 10th. Chuck's is delightful. Absolutely it is. Jennifer Morris says, I'm not clear what you're pointing to there, Jennifer. Is the survey maybe not working? So I've had a number of responses to it, so it should be. But let me know what you're having an issue with there, and I'll help you with it. Who wants a picture game? I enjoyed that last week just because I knew the answers. This Genesis of the survey. Okay. Let me know what you're having an issue with. So if it doesn't work, why is it not working? What are you seeing instead? Then I'll give you a pointer or two. It may not work on mobiles, but on cell phones, but it should. Dan's up for a game. Okay, let's give you 5, 6 if I'm feeling evil. I'll start off with an easy one, which actually you saw earlier on because I pulled it up by accident. So, for instance, what song is that? Ignore the word you can see, possibly in the silhouette. It's just because I borrowed some clip art, but by all means look at the foreground and the background. Yeah, Jen, if you're looking on your phone, then it may be an issue. So try again on a laptop or desktop if you could. If that's an issue, then let me know. But yeah, what song is that? Have at it, ladies and gents. What song of Bruce's, as Roy Walker would say what you see, which will mean something to precisely none of you, I guess. And Carwin has it straight away. That's the easy one. I'm starting off easy. That is Barcelona in the background. And you know what that is in the foreground. So we'll move on to number 2. We're going to do a bunch of these with prizes on Daily Dose Day. But here's the second one. There are some red herrings in there, actually, but ignore the phone, for instance. But yeah, I'm making these too easy this week. Maybe I felt sorry for you last week, and maybe I was gloating a little too hard last week. But that is, in fact, as a number of you have said all at once, John's got it, Klaus has got it, Carwin's got it. He's not so confident, but he's got it. Amy's got it. Man, I made it too easy for you. I'll move on to number 3 then. That's told me. What's that? That's easy again. I've gone the other way this week. Last week was too hard. This week is too easy. Amy's got it. Amy's getting her groceries, and she's still beating you all to it. So you're right. At least on the order that I can see them coming up. That's shameful, Chuck. It's not the... Actually, I can see why you would say that, but it's not The River Runs Low. They've all got it. Sticks and Stones is the third one. Okay, well, I'm going to give you the 4th. This is more along the lines of what I was doing last week. So what is that? What song of Bruce's might that be? I was a little too pleased with myself with this one, but as with last week, that is a particular type of fish. I can see why you'd say that, John. Incorrect in this case, though. So the fish is a part of the clue, and it's a particular type of fish. Again, ignore the watermark there. What if I told you that the fish was a sole? Does that help? Maybe. Jen got it. Maybe I shouldn't have given you the clue. I was a little too pleased with myself, like I said, with that one. So it's lost soul. You're right. I don't know whether the order that you're seeing these appear on screen in the same order that you guys are typing them, but I'm putting them up. I'm reading them out as soon as I see them. Yes, lost soul. For shame with my corny humor, but this one's a little too easy, I think, but I'll give it you anyway. I don't think that'll take you too long. I've made them too easy. Darn it. I shall bear that in mind for next week. I think last week we had Charlie with us, who was in his element and picking these off easily. Chuck, you're right. It is, in fact, Fields of Grey. Andy's got it too. So I've borrowed these, Chuck, I have to say. I've maybe added to them in places, but this is clip art rather than anything I've put together. I didn't have the time this week, otherwise I might have invested. I'm going to give you another one just because I feel like you've beaten me this week. So I was holding a sixth more obscure one in reserve, so I'll give you that one. So this is the final one for this week. I did do some drawing for the Daily Dose Day site, Chuck, by the way, so you'll see those pop art versions of Bruce and JT and JV. But again, maybe a red herring or two in that one, but it hasn't stopped Klaus. The train has nothing to do with it, although Vic, it is not. You've, I'll highlight the ones who got it. Well done, Klaus. Well done, Dan. Well done, Jan. Amy, so next week I'm going to give you some terrible ones, and it'll be Amy's fault because she thought that was too easy, and I'm inclined to agree, actually, because you've got them way too quickly for my liking. So I maybe I enjoyed myself too much last week giving you ones that were tough, so I'm going to make them more cryptic next week. And Amy says I'm scared. I will I'll make this a running theme. I'll try and feature them on the podcast each week. But all of this is a run up to, is a practice. So we'll do something bigger for Daily Dose Day. We'll have a round of these, maybe a knockout round or something, and have you guess for prizes. We'll have some prizes lined up on the day. I keep saying this is a practice for Daily Dose Day. I feel like today is a dry run for worst case scenario. So I lost all of those songs 10 minutes before I went live. I'm also sat in pain, let's say, but if I can, hopefully if I can manage this now, then I'll be able to manage it for a 24-hour thing, or at least I'll know what cushions to sit on, if nothing else, or whatever's going to help my back out. I mentioned I was going to talk to you about word clouds for a second. So if you're not familiar with word clouds, it's just something I'm playing around with for a minute. So a word cloud is where you take a body of text, like a paragraph. Yeah, brush up for next week, Jen. And I need to brush up. I need to increase the difficulty on these things. So word clouds are, you take it like a paragraph or a body of text or a page out of a book or something, and you make a graphic out of it, out of those words. And the more frequent the word, the larger it is. So I've been doing a little work. If I share my desktop with you again. And so here's an example of a word cloud. If you squint your eyes, you might be able to tell what that is. So that's the cover of Spirit Trail. And again, the larger the word, the more often it's used. So that's taken every word of Spirit Trail, every word of every song, all 20 is it of them of Spirit Trail, and made a graphic out of them. So the words go and look and long and see appear often we can tell from that on Spirit Trail. So if I hover, I don't think this goes anywhere when I look at it, but here's an example of all the words, right down to the lesser known words, like, or lesser used words like dissipated, for instance, or prevailed, or Jenny. Oh, that was in Funhouse. That's right. So it's something I'm working on at the minute, and I think we could maybe make a canvas or two out of those. So I'm working on every word ever used in Bruce's songs. So that's one for later on. It's something I'm putting together for Daily Dose Day. And I can see a competition coming out of that. So Chuck says very cool. So thank you. It's a little bit of software that does it for me, but I'll work on the graphics, for instance. So it'll be interesting to have. Maybe we could make a competition out of that too. So we could say which is the most used word. Tell me what you think the most used word is out of all of Bruce's career, out of, let's say, his studio records only, and I could make a game out of that or a quiz out of that further down the line. Or I could come up with two words. Which do you think was used the most? Is it the word round or the word down? So that's something I'm playing with, an idea for that for Daily Dose Day anyway. To finish off, we have some of the chatter on Facebook this week, mainly around Vic's list of songs from the musical. Congratulations on not getting banned this week, Vic. Proud of you. If anybody doesn't get the reference, Vic was accidentally banned last week after Facebook's automatic censors kicked in and banned him for using profanity. I can't even remember the word he used now, but it was something very mild. Anyway, somewhere in here we have a list. I hate how Facebook stacks these conversations. Good luck if you're watching this on a cell phone. But anyway, Vic had a list that we were making of 20, I think at last count it was 22 songs, and he was asking if anyone knew what the additional one might be. When I did some digging around, Bruce has played it a few times, so I'm going to stop scrolling because that, oh, I thought you could see it. You can't, you're still looking at me. Bear with me. So this is what I was looking at. There is Vic's list of 15, which became 22 or so songs from the musical, and some of them you may not have heard. Quasar you may never have heard. Neighborhood Watch you may not have heard. Big Fish you may not have heard. So the whole conversation there, if you're watching on Facebook, you can follow that conversation. But there was one elusive one which Vic came to me with, and let me just bring myself back a second. So the song is called Adonis. And I'm going to play you out this week with a live version of that from the Wolf Trap. It's been played a few times. All I know about it is that it's apparently written about an unsavory individual. I think a young man. So if you've seen the musical, you which I have not, you may understand who this is. But there were a number of songs which weren't released. There was as Jackie has been kind enough to post the lyrics to an alternative version of Simple Prayer, for instance. There were the song titles I've just mentioned. And I will play you out with a version of Adonis from the Wolf Trap in 2014. Just want to say thanks so much for joining me again today for 52 minutes or so nearly an hour. Please take a minute to complete that survey. It would be really helpful. It would help contribute to this historical document we're putting together of where we stand in 2022. So I'd be really happy to hear from you on that. Thanks, Amy, for joining us. I had fun too. Hope you all did. So I will speak to you again this time next week. Please complete the survey. I had something else I wanted to remind you of as well, and it's gone. Oh yeah, if you think of a title for the documentary, either drop something on Facebook or hit me up with a message on Facebook or contact me through bruce.com. Thanks, Anne-Marie, for joining us. You can watch back on the replay. You'll probably get those song titles immediately, I would think. But yes, I will play you out now with Bruce's version. I think this was one of the duo shows he did with Sonny Emery back in 2014. So this is from the Wolf Trap. It's Vic's elusive song Adonis. So thanks again for joining us. Me and my Taco Bell, which I'll now finish, and I will see you next week. Thanks again, and stay safe, please.
I'm so in demand, I'm not in denial. Individualism like mine is always in style. Apathy's a problem, but I'm too bored to care. Other kids like boats, those with bad hair. I'm checking them in, Google myself till I'm numb. So I know how to stack them, look continue one. I'm nobody's fool, and I'm just being honest. It's cool as a rule for this handsome Adonis. I want someone to learn the media. When will someone check Wikipedia? When it looks like I could clean up in the theater. I'm cool as give it a dollar. At school the girls love me, someday I'll get laid. I'm trying to get lucky, but I'm kind of afraid. The trick to success is to make a girl laugh. A giggling girl, get your odds up by half. A frown on the side is a sign you're sunk. And I heard the deals are slammed up if she's drunk. Well, kids at my school, they don't think me dishonest. It's cool as a rule for this handsome Adonis.